What is going on? The Catch fam. Hope you guys are doing phenomenal tonight, man. Hope everyone out there having a great week. Hope you guys are having a great Wednesday. Tonight, we're going to hop into a fantasy football draft like we usually do. But this is actually my first underdog draft that I've done throughout the entire off season. So I'm pretty excited for this actually because I haven't done any underdog drafts so far this year. So obviously we've been hopping back on, getting into some mock drafts, but I have really been wanting to get into some more actual drafts, best ball drafts, underdog drafts, and obviously we'll have some more tournaments on underdog opening up after the NFL draft takes place on Thursday night. But for now, we've got the War Room, which is a 2024 pre-draft best ball draft. So, our tournament, I should say. So, we'll go ahead and hop into one of these. I might do two tonight, depending on how much time this one takes. But yeah, we'll go ahead and enter and see what happens. So 3 spots available for anyone out there who's interested in drafting tonight. So in terms of this tournament, we're looking at a $5 entry. Not a crazy payout. First place is 5,000. It looks like it went ahead and just filled up, but pretty typical best ball format here. 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers. Oh, this is no. Oh, this is. I was about to say there's no quarterback in this, but there's one quarterback. So yeah, I mean, pretty typical best ball setup here. So, all right, let's get into it. Filled pretty quickly, and this should be fun. So I'll go ahead and give you guys. You guys usually like this view, so we'll roll with this. So NFL draft coming up quickly Thursday night. So we'll kind of see where some of the rookies are going in tonight's draft as well, which should be interesting because I've seen where you guys are drafting them in terms of our mock drafts, but so far have not seen where they're going in any underdog drafts. So should be interesting to see. So things will kick off any second here. I really have no strategy. I mean, being at the 1.2, I mean, I'm probably just going to go wide receiver. CMC's off the board. So we've talked about this a lot in our mocks. It's like first wide receiver off the board really is up for debate. I mean, I'll just roll with CeeDee Lamb here. Why not? But I really do think that Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra, maybe even Puka, like could all be in that conversation for the first wide receiver that you want to take off the board. So, I mean, really, when we look at the first round of most drafts right now, both at the wide receiver and the running back spot, it's just kind of like, go get your guy. Outside of Christian McCaffrey, I mean, he's still got to be the 1.1, right? So let me know in the chat if you guys have ran any best ball drafts so far this offseason. And if not, if you guys are waiting until after the NFL draft, I mean, I always like to get a couple in pre-draft, before those rookies have their actual landing spots, because I do feel like you can get some pretty good discounts on players that sometimes pay off. I mean, like Puka was a guy that we talked about last year, and I mean, didn't draft a ton of him, admittedly, but was a very good example of a player that a lot of you guys in the community actually liked as a late round pick and were able to draft in a lot of underdog drafts. So, going off of name value, you can really get some really good discounts as well. So we'll see what happens. All right, let's see. What's going on, J-Dubs? Already maxed the big board, so I'm just chilling until Best Ball Mania 5. Yeah. I wonder what the entry fees for Best Ball Mania are going to be this year, because generally speaking, they go up every year, which makes sense. But I wonder what it'll be this year. And obviously the big tournament that everybody is looking forward to. Man, and last year is like, I actually had a pretty successful best ball season, I guess you could say. I mean, not like super successful or anything, but I had enough teams hanging in there at the end that there was a chance. But really, oh gosh, who did the Niners play at the end of the year last year? Because I had some like really good looking squads, but they all were like reliant on 49er stacks. And I mean, that didn't look like it was going to be a bad thing. Oh, it was Baltimore. That's the game. Week 16. That just blew me completely out of the park, like in all my tournaments. And I mean, I think I literally had like C-Mac, Purdy, Debo, and Ayuk like on one team. Um, and I mean, it's so very difficult to get through kind of those final weeks of the season. Like George Pickens was like a player that like you had to have in best ball last year to like advance essentially because of that monster game towards the end of the season. And I want to say Brees Hall was another one, but I still feel like I'm missing one player who went absolutely crazy because Pickens had 35.5 in week 16, then 20 in week 17. Let me make these next two picks. Oh, man, I will tell you guys in terms of best ball drafting, I will be going pretty heavy. That's who it was. It was Amari Cooper. Yeah, like literally, if you didn't have Amari Cooper last year in best balls, like he just didn't advance at the end of the season. Thank you, Dados. But I will be going pretty heavy on the Houston Texans wide receivers. So I'm hoping that Nico falls here. I won't be surprised. So they go Malik Neighbors. So yeah, I'll take Nico Collins pretty happily here. And I know that like some people are going to be worried about like less targets. Obviously, with Diggs there, you still got Tank Dell there, Joe Mixon, Dalton Schultz. But I'm all in on this offense this year. I mean, part of me wants to go with Stephon Diggs here as well. Let's just do it. I mean, this is what we do in best ball, right? Is like you just want to build these teams that are a little bit more aggressive that don't make like as much sense. So I don't mind Olave there, Evans, Waddle, Pittman. You got other options at wide receiver. Could also gone running back there and got my RB1, kind of go with the hero RB build, but we'll see who kind of falls there at pick 47. Some running backs that I really like on the board right now. Henry, Etienne, Cook, White, Pacheco. And then you kind of fall into the next tier, Mixon, Walker, Kamara, Aaron Jones, Monty. So plenty of options. So we'll kind of go with the 0 RB build, kind of go aggressive Houston Texans and see. See, the thing is, if we want to get Stroud on this team, we probably need to take him with that next pick, if not the following pick after at pick 50. I mean, his ADP is literally 50.6. So we'll see what happens. But I'm good with whatever. All right, let's see here. What's going on, Ghost Hunter? Interested to see how the NFL draft goes, watching some NBA playoffs and being frustrated at my fantasy baseball teams. Yeah. So I did not know the first thing about fantasy baseball. I can tell you guys that. But Fantasy Endgame, the channel that I work for, Chris and Pierre, do some really, really good fantasy baseball content on their second channel, which I believe is just called Fantasy Endgame Baseball. So if you guys do play fantasy baseball, definitely go check them out on their second channel. And of course, if you guys aren't already subscribed, which most of you guys are, check out Fantasy Endgame as well for their fantasy football content. But yeah, I have never played fantasy baseball my whole life. I've technically played fantasy basketball like 2 seasons ago because Jerry from our community had set up a league with some of you guys, and I was in it, but I didn't know what was going on. So I basically say the same thing for fantasy basketball as well. But I've been slightly keeping up with the NBA playoffs, and that's about it. I've been seeing what happens after the games, seeing the highlights. So, but I almost was going to sit down tonight and just watch some NBA playoffs, and then I was like, you know what? I am going to stream. What's going on, Cinnabon? London in front of Moore and Devontae is pure insanity. Yeah, so like I still really like Drake London, but like I almost don't really view him like too. I don't know. I kind of view him as I did last year, to be honest. Like I still really like him, but let's see where he went tonight. 2.5. Yeah. I mean, I will say that like I don't know. I think he's fine to like build a stack around, but it's just this is the big issue with Drake London and why he's going to continue to be kind of like controversial, so to speak, in terms of a draft selection, is because his ADP is just going to. It's just like, is it worth the price? Like, uh, I think like he's going to have a good year, but I'll break down into this in a second here. I just don't want to make these next two or miss these next two picks. Um, I'm really hoping that Rashad White falls here, but if not, I'll probably just go with Pacheco. So White is here. There's still some wide receivers that I really like, but give me Rashad White. And then I think I am going to go early quarterback, which like generally I don't do. But if Stroud is here, I feel like on this team with Collins and Diggs, best ball, like I kind of have to go with CJ Stroud. So I'll just take him. But generally, like there are some wide receivers on the board right now that I really like. And plus, I wouldn't mind going Isaiah Pacheco, getting a second running back. But yeah, like Christian Kirk, even Rashee Rice, Amari Cooper, Jaden Reed, Hollywood, Terry McLaurin. Like I feel good about any of those picks there. But you guys know me, Christian Kirk is who I want. So but yeah, like in terms of Drake London, I mean, I think he's gonna have a very good year. It's just like it's just such a steep price in terms of ADP. And I still really like him in terms of like that. I think he's going to be just a consistent like PPR style wide receiver. You know, he's only scored 6 touchdowns in his career, which like how much is his fault? How much is it the quarterback play? I don't know. Um, hard to say, but like, yeah, I like Drake London. I think he's going to be vastly improved, but you know, to your point here in front of DJ Moore and Devontae Adams, a little crazy, right? So, but this is probably the style of draft where you're going to see him go the earliest, right? And like Adams, questionable quarterback play, right? DJ Moore, I agree. Like, I think people are freaking out a little bit too much. Like, you guys know how in on DJ Moore I was last year. Paid off. I mean, what did he finish as? Like the wide receiver 8 is my guess, 6. And you got to remember Justin Fields getting hurt really impacted his numbers, and when Fields came back, really improved his numbers. So 8 touchdowns, just over 1,300 receiving yards, 96 receptions off 136 targets. So, you know, obviously we've got more weapons on this offense now. We've got Keenan Allen at wide receiver, and obviously DeAndre Swift could get some work as well in terms of receiving. But yeah, I'm still feeling very good about DJ Moore, right? And Adams, even though the quarterback play is questionable, it's like he's still Devontae Adams. Now I will be avoiding Devontae Adams. I'm not gonna lie, going into next season, but that's really because like I spent a high draft pick on him in literally one league, and I was really disappointed. So I'm like kind of soured. And honestly, he didn't even have a bad year. Still the wide receiver 10, just over 1,100 receiving yards, 8 receiving touchdowns, 103 receptions off 175 targets. So, you know, still a fine season, but there were enough down points that you felt bad, right? Hit single digits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. It's like not even that bad at all. Every other game hit double digits. So listen, I do like this Falcons offense on paper. 2.5 is a really, really high asking price, though. That I can agree with. And I think I just like made myself feel a little bit better about potentially drafting Devontae Adams going into next year because those numbers are not bad at all. Lots of people banking on Kirk and new coaching staff utilizing him better. There's nothing that London has done to warrant the draft stock he has right now. It's just the Cousins hype. Yeah, and I mean, you do look at Cousins, he can definitely support a number one wide receiver. So I think people feel good about that for sure. Um, we'll see what happens. All right, sorry. Trying to take a look here. So I've got 3 wide receivers, 1 running back, 1 quarterback. So I probably won't be drafting a quarterback till like the end of this draft. Because I generally don't go too early at quarterback, but like I said, had to go with Stroud with this specific build. So I'll go ahead and take another running back. It's interesting if you guys like, who do you guys like more here, Kamara or Monty? I'm gonna go Monty. And I think I'll go with another running back, but there are some wide receivers that I really like available here. But I'm going to draft DeAndre Swift ahead of ADP, which some of you guys don't mind, some of you guys don't like. But I don't know. A lot of the guys that I really liked last year, I still feel really good about this year. And Swift is one of them. I don't dislike Kamara. I just feel better about Monty and Swift, which might be kind of crazy. Kamara's fine right there. And so the team in front of me passes 2 on Kamara, goes James Conner and Ramondre Stevenson. Interesting. They do fantasy baseball. Do they do a lot of dynasty stuff? I have a dynasty team that's in a massive rebuild. So yeah, I mean, anytime they run any of their streams, they will answer. Dynasty baseball. That I believe they do. I know if you hop on their Discord, they answer questions. But yeah, they're putting out baseball videos like every day right now. So I don't know off the top of my head if they have any specific to Dynasty, but you could definitely check. Jadip says, I'm more interested in Pitt's price. Yeah. So I feel okay about Kyle Pitts this year. And you guys know historically, I have not been a fan of Kyle Pitts. So he goes at the 5'11 in this specific draft. And I think in a lot of like PPR style, like mock so far, he's going kind of like in the 6-ish round. Maybe you might see a couple mocks where he goes a little bit higher, a little bit lower. Happens with tight ends, but yeah, I as long as his ADP doesn't rise like crazy, I'm fine with Pitts. And I think the thing, like when you look at Drake London, for example, is like while the upside hasn't necessarily been crazy, he has been consistent when he's been on the field. So like last year, he hit single digits. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Missed one of those by 0.4. So actually, not as good as I remember. But yeah, he hasn't even hit 1,000 receiving yards in a season. Hasn't had more than 72 receptions. Hasn't scored more than 4 touchdowns in a season. So he's missed a little bit of time, but nothing crazy. Like he missed 2 games last year and 1 game his rookie season. So is it the quarterback play? Is it the offense? Is it Arthur Smith? Whatever. Is it Drake London? I don't know. But the difference here is that there's a really high price on Drake London. And with Kyle Pitts, he's basically going like the same place he was going last year. And he gets a massive upgrade at quarterback for sure. So this is the one year where I actually feel like, okay, I think I might actually be willing to draft Kyle Pitts. But generally, I'm going for bargain tight ends. Are we concerned that Tampa brings another running back in? Maybe. We'll see what happens. But ultimately, no. I think Rachaad White is still the guy, even if they bring another running back. Yeah, because, right now, when you look at this roster, you probably would expect them to, right? Because, yeah, we still just got Sean Tucker hanging around. But that was the thing with Rachaad White all last year is all the Rachaad White haters were like, Sean Tucker, he's going to be a thing. And then he wasn't. Chase Edmonds is going to be a thing. Then he wasn't. So I'm not too worried about it because I really think on paper, when you look at this Tampa Bay offense, it looks almost identical to what we saw last year. But Is it a fair concern? Sure. Why not? All right. So coming up here, looking at 3 running backs, 3 wide receivers, pretty even build. I'm probably going to hold off at tight end for another round or two. So I want to get some wide receiver depth here. And when I'm looking at this kind of like tier that we're in, I don't mind going with a rookie. Xavier Worthy's on the board. I like Jamison Williams in this kind of range. And I will still draft Cortland Sutton. Oh, yeah. I mean, how do we feel about Zach Wilson and the Broncos, guys? Do I think they're going to be starting Zach Wilson? That I don't know. I mean, who is the best quarterback on the Broncos? So there goes Xavier Worthy. Let me double check running back here. I do like Javonte Williams, and I kind of like Washington's running backs right here. I'm going to go ahead and pick up J-Mo. If I can get my mouse to cooperate. There we go. But I do like Romeo Doubs right here as well. And I feel okay at running back. Like I got 3 guys that I'm fine with. And I think there's a couple of names that could maybe fall out to the next round if like things go my way. Or people just are like do not draft running backs for the next couple of rounds. But I mean, there goes Zamir White. But I want depth at wide receiver. And I like Romeo Doubs still a lot in best ball, as much as I like the other Green Bay wide receivers. So I'll take Doubs here because he does have that touchdown upside, has that trust in the red zone with J-Lo, Jordan Love. So I'll take him here as what, my wide receiver 5. Yeah, so we got Lamb, Collins, Diggs, Jameson Williams, Doubs. Yeah, I feel good about this team so far, actually. Sure, as time goes on, the London hype will die down at least a bit. Potentially, but I really think he's solidified himself as a second rounder. But yeah, like when you look at tonight's draft, like Adams, Moore, Ayuk, Neighbors, Collins, Debo, all ahead of him in the second round. So we're getting more and more rumors about Ayuk being on the trade block, but and like might be getting traded Thursday night. But apparently the asking price is a first rounder, which a lot of people don't want to do. Rookies are priced for best outcome landing spot as well. Literally, MHJ has to land in Arizona, Neighbors, Chargers. Yeah. So we'll see where all the rookies kind of go or went at the end of the draft. But we're getting like at least one rookie wide receiver gone almost every single round so far. Yeah, I think I'm okay with Adams. Like he's fine. That's where I'm at. Wouldn't be surprised if Chargers pass on Neighbors picking on linemen because Harbaugh. Yeah, I mean, I won't be either. Deontay Johnson would be my pick here. Yeah, so I almost went with Johnson there. But he got selected before I could take him. Yeah. Or no, that's not true. He was there at the 7.2 when I went with Swift. That was the one wide receiver that I semi struggled to not pick. I do like Deontay Johnson a lot in that range. Kamara's more passing game upside every game plays with Carr. Yeah, I'm fading Kamara. It's like, once again, I think Kamara's fine. I just felt a little bit better about the other 2 running backs I went with there. All right, so remember how I said, like, hopefully it's like a round where not a lot of running backs are taken. So we see Jonathan Brooks, Javonte Williams, Nick Chubb, Trey Benson, Eckler, Brian Robinson Jr. all off the board as soon as I say that. I was hoping Eckler would fall out. I knew it was probably unlikely, but like a lot of people hate Eckler, and I kind of like him like as an RB4-ish guy. Best ball, I actually feel pretty good about Eckler. I just don't like Kamara, so I won't be drafting him. Fair enough. Exactly. And like that's definitely a big part like about best ball drafting too, is like just trusting your own intuition, right? And going with guys that you feel good about, don't feel good about, don't draft them. So, but also like I think you want to have that balance too. The more entries you have, like you want to throw together a couple teams, or maybe every now and then just make a couple of draft selections on guys that you're not as high on, because you want to have that exposure, right? I have no idea what I want to do with this next pick. Running back, we got Tajay Spears, Chase Brown, Gus the Bus, Chuba. I might go with one of those guys. And Dalton Schultz is the top-rated tight end. I kind of want to pick him. Like, just go full in on Houston here. Team picking right now does not have a tight end. I mean, this would be a pretty aggressive Houston Texans stack, so we'll see what happens. I mean, there's other guys that I'm okay with. Hawkinson, obviously, going to miss some time. Komet. I do like Musgrave as like a late-round tight end as well. And Cortland Sutton's on the board. I still like Cortland Sutton in this range. Oh, he's gone. All right, so the team in front of me probably won't go tight end, but I'll just take Dalton Schultz because I'm probably just going to go running back with this next pick. Although I kind of like Jahan Dotson right here. He could fall, and I don't feel like any three of these running backs are going to fall. So Gus Edwards, Chase Brown, Chuba Hubbard, Blake Corum, Zach Charbonnet. I'm probably going to go Chuba Hubbard is the guy that I want. We'll see what happens. I like Kamar as a late round flyer, decent passing game upside since Carr checks down a lot. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate him, but I feel good about the Lions offense still. I'd still like I 100% expect Gibbs to be more involved than Monty, but I just really like Monty at his current ADP. And I might be a little bit too high on DeAndre Swift, but I really like him as like a RB3. Because I feel like this offense is going to be vastly improved, hopefully, and he'll be involved. So, like right now, Rashad White, Monty, Swift, Chuba Hubbard, my running backs. Wide receivers, we got CeeDee Lamb, Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, J-Mo, Romeo Dobbs. At tight end, we have Dalton Schultz, and we have Stroud at quarterback. So, very aggressive Houston Texans stack. And I do need to start mapping out who is my second quarterback going to be on this team, because I am going to need one. And there's this has been a pretty heavy draft at quarterback. I mean, I see Jaden Daniels, Jared Goff, Trevor Lawrence go. We'll see what happens. That Evan Ingram price is perfect. Took a lot of high pre-draft underdog. Let's see where he went tonight. I mean, I'm always in on Evan Ingram. Goes at 7.9. Yeah, I'm good with that. That's about where I expected him to go to. I think they trade Sutton to the Bills. I mean, I would love to see Sutton on a different team. And it's like, what is the state of the Broncos right now? Like, Sean Payton is still the head coach, but it's like, this team has to be in a rebuild, right? How long are they going to give Payton a rebuild? I saw someone like seriously trying to compare like what happened with Drew Brees going to Sean Payton the Saints, and like compare that to Zach Wilson going to Sean Payton the Broncos, and I was like, oh my gosh. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see that. I'm rooting for Zach Wilson, but geez. I think I preferred the upside of Brooks or Chubb there as opposed to Dobbs. I've got him later before. Yeah. I didn't want to miss out on him. That's my guy. It's like something in my eye. Wow. Quarterback really drying up. I like Baker Mayfield kind of late here. It's so interesting that, like, how do we feel about Pittsburgh's quarterbacks? Like, are you guys only drafting Fields for the potential upside? Is anyone drafting Russell Wilson? Should we be drafting Russell Wilson? Like, he is the starter, right? Are we assuming he's just going to lose the job to Fields? How do we feel about it? What's going on, John Edwards? Good to see you, bro. Hope you're having a blessed day as well. Love how cheap rookie running backs are going to be this year with them not being very hyped up. Can keep the top one as my RB2 or RB3. Yeah, and I especially in best ball, right? Like, let's see, we still have Blake Corum, Jalen Wright available here in the 12th round. Marshawn Lloyd, Braylon Allen. So, and Audric Estime, Will Shipley's hanging around. I mean, just kind of depends on who you like, right? When it comes to those, and there goes Blake Corum. But yeah, I mean, in best ball especially, you can get some really good value, right? All right, let's see. I do need to get my my league dues paid. I will get that done. I promise. I don't think Wilson's better than Stidham, but I think he ends up starting at least a couple games for Denver. Yeah, I mean, it's like I feel like every quarterback on that roster, depending on if or who they draft, is going to like end up playing this year. All right, I still kind of want to go wide receiver here. So I'm just going to go with Rashid Shaheed. Still in on Rashid Shaheed. Oh, quarterbacks ugly. I'm just going to draft like 2 really bad quarterbacks. You know what? I'm going to draft Ricky Pearsall. And that's going to top off my wide receivers because now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We threw a rookie in there. Oh, we have, that's right. We have 20 rounds. Free draft best ball, little bit. We get 2 extra rounds. Usually it's 18 rounds. So this should get interesting. Yes, I want to draft some, like, maybe I'll just draft all of Pittsburgh's quarterbacks. Yeah, I saw that some of the leagues were needing replacements, so I will probably go through and make a list and then get things sent out. So there's a couple other Discords that I can send out invites on, and I should be able to get those filled. So I was kind of waiting to see if like until we had like for each league what was needed, and we got enough responses, and then I can start to help you guys get those filled. By the way, I forgot. Can you guys hear me okay? Because my daughter was pointing my mic yesterday, and I don't know if she changed anything on here, but no one has said anything, so I'm assuming you guys can hear me okay. Pete, what's up, man? Good to see you. Excited to see an in-depth Vikings mock on your channel tomorrow. And almost a Thursday night. Good vibes. Vikings getting their quarterback of the future. What's the over or under your new QBs, McCarthy? Uh-oh. Wait until after the draft. 429, we'll touch base. Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, let's give it a couple days and kind of see how it shakes out. But we'll get everything organized. I know it's it's frustrating. And I appreciate you guys helping me take over the dynasty leagues because I know it's a lot of work. I did both trade it for May or stayed 11. Nice. Shane's in the house. What's up, man? Good to see you, broski. I totally forgot that these are 20 rounds. So I'm okay at wide receiver. I need to get some tight end depth. I kind of like Chicken Conquo as a late round flyer. That's about it. What's his ADP? 196. Yeah, I mean, I don't even need to take him anytime soon. Still need some running back help on this team. Do we like Jaleel McLaughlin? I kind of want to draft J.K. Dobbins or Keaton Mitchell. Miles Sanders. Who? I kind of like Will Shipley. Damian Pierce. I feel like I have to draft Damian Pierce on this heavy Houston team. It's just so I just always want to draft wide receivers in best ball. Like Demario Douglas and Randall Robinson are sitting here, and I have 7 wide receivers, and I still want to draft them. But realistically, I need to draft a quarterback. Dude, it's got to be Fields, right? Give me Justin Fields. And I literally think I'm going to also draft Russell Wilson. Don't ask me how this happened, but it happened. Interesting. They have Taysom Hill listed as quarterback. I do feel like in a best ball format, it is most fair to have Hill listed as quarterback. Okay, I'm gonna continue to hold out on tight end, I think. And I want to draft Keaton Mitchell. This is gonna get ugly. I'm off McLaughlin. I think I am too. I've just seen him go and even some mocks, so just interested to see where you guys are at. I don't think I'm there. Sanders is interesting only because uncertainty, best ball. Yeah. I'm just saying, man, Miles Sanders, hot pick last year, right? Just so crazy to see those names who completely downfall the following year. So could have gone Tyler Algier there. Who do you feel better about a potential handcuff? Keaton Mitchell to Henry or Algier to Bijan? Fantasy baseball is essentially 2 entirely different games depending on if it's redraft or dynasty. Since in dynasty, you have to pay a lot more attention to minor league levels. Jeez. That's probably super difficult, would be my assumption. Still learning on the fly, yeah. Don't double dip on Steelers quarterbacks. Yeah. More I thought about it. Yeah, and that's really the thing with this team is we're relying on Stroud to carry us through, right? But yeah, at this point, I do actually like Bryce Young out of the available quarterbacks for sure. But yeah, we're essentially just relying on Stroud to carry us. And then whenever his bye week is, somebody else plays. So with these next 2 picks, I mean, I don't know if Young will be there. Let's see. His ADP is 188. My next draft pick is 191, so he could definitely be there, but he might not be there. And then I probably need to go ahead and take Chig if I want to get him. And I do need a second tight end on this team. Yeah, that's true. It'd be hard for Young to be worse. They did improve the O-line in the offseason. And to Cinnabon's credit, that's really about it. I mean, Deontay Johnson's there. You know? That should help. I mean, out of the available quarterbacks, who you guys like? Derek Carr, Bryce Young, JJ McCarthy, Russell Wilson. I already have Fields on this team for some reason. Daniel Jones, you got Michael Penix, Bo Nix, Gardner Minshew, and there goes Bryce Young anyway. So, but yeah, I mean, at this point, I do agree it's got to be Carr. I don't think I can draft Daniel Jones right now, man. How do we feel about the future of the Giants quarterback situation? Stack with Shaheed. Yeah, that makes sense. I have Shaheed on this team, so Carr should be my target. Steelers do love to trade their wide receivers, right? And just throw whoever the next guy. I mean, like now Pickens is their wide receiver one, right? Really do rotate those guys. See, like now when we look at wide receiver, oh man, there goes Carr. But I'm not really like too torn up about it. What makes this next pick kind of interesting. The team in front of me has 3 tight ends, of course. So, hey, this might be a dumb pick. I'm just gonna pick Dameon Pierce, and that basically finishes out running back for me. I literally am only picking him because he's on the Texans, and Mixon is old-ish. And for anyone who didn't catch the beginning of the draft, we were going very heavy in on Houston Texans players. So I'm just going to hold off at quarterback for another round. Once again, like we'd feel better if we liked our quarterbacks 2 and or 3, but it's like we drafted this team based around CJ Stroud. Like, yeah, there's a bye week involved, but all right, so let's take Chig here. You know, ultimately we're relying on CJ Stroud to be like the bread and butter of this team. So, okay. 2 quarterbacks, 6 running backs, 7 wide receivers, 2 tight ends. So we have what? 3 more picks? Yep, 3 more picks. So I don't personally, I mean, there's some rookie running backs that I think are interesting. Is Ezekiel Elliott on a team? I don't think so. A.J. Dillon, Tank Bigsby, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Evan Hull. Man, I was very in on Evan Hull last year. Very, very in. Frank Gore Jr. is going in the NFL. He's almost like has to be good, right? Yeah, there's just like nobody. Amari DeMarcado. Remember that one game he had? Then it was like you have to pick him up off the waiver wire. That was a really annoying situation. Wide receiver, like maybe Jalen Hyatt, Treylon Burks, Jonathan Mingo, Greg the Torch Dortch, Kendrick Bourne. Like, see, there's always somebody at wide receiver that you can make an argument for. But yeah, wide receiver is pretty dry. Sky Moore. Admittedly, I was in on the Sky Moore train last year. That was probably, I mean, I kind of actually started to fade off of it as we're getting like towards the middle end of August, because a lot of people were getting on that train, and his ADP did kind of rise to the point where it's kind of hard to get him at the value that, quote unquote, value that you were getting on him before. And so I did kind of come off of it at the right time, but man, that was a train I was on for a couple weeks there last offseason. And really, we needed to be on the Rasheed Rice train. Giants will be starting Drew Lock week 6, calling it now. Dude, I might draft Drew Lock in this draft. Giants are screwed no matter what they do. They are probably screwed, yeah. Yeah, I like Deontay Johnson at his current ADP. I hope he doesn't rise, because if he starts to rise, I might not like him as much. Kyler's actually my favorite quarterback to draft this year. I'm in on Kyler. Dude, I don't really like Chig either, but it was like, I mean, who else am I supposed to target here? Zach Ertz. I do kind of like Dawson Knox. Don't ask me why. But it's like, yeah, he might still get some looks, but Dalton Kincaid's the guy, right? Isn't Darren Waller retired? And now, like, has also been in the news for other things? Greg Dulcich. Whew. Oh, Gerald Everett's kind of hiding around. I kind of like Everett as at this point in the draft, like what, 18th round? Yeah. Rob Gronkowski can be drafted. Dude, I swear I'm going to draft Joe Flacco. I totally forgot Flacco's on the Colts. Drew Lock, Tom Brady, Zach Wilson, Joe Flacco, Sam Darnold. I do feel like Sam Darnold actually makes the most sense to draft. Sorry, Pete, if you're still listening. Yeah, Kyler's going at a great value. Which dream is dead? Which one? I named like 5. Oh man, Dawson Knox. I really wanted Dawson Knox, but I'll draft Gerald Everett at this point. I named a lot of dead dreams. Dawson Knox and Mac Hollins. That's actually an interesting pick. I have no idea who I want to draft here. No idea. It's probably going to be like Jalen Hyatt, which is disgusting. Yeah. It was him or AJ Dillon or Treylon Burks. Like it's just disgusting out of here. Like I could go with another quarterback or AJ Dillon. Kenneth Gainwell, that's my guy. I think Kenneth Gainwell was literally my most drafted running back in Underdog last year. Just because I would always take him at the end of the draft. Sam Darnold. Oh, that felt gross. Oh God, I don't know why I just picked Sam Darnold. I mean, we needed another quarterback on this team. Oh, that was disgusting. Pick Gronk. I should have at this point. Do you think Freiermuth will bounce back? This is a good question. Yeah, prepare for a Dwayne Washington resurgence, right? This is a good question. I think it's possible. I still like Pat Freiermuth, and last year when you really look at things, granted he was a guy that a lot of people drafted like kind of late roundish to be like a reliable tight end after being the tight end 8 in 2022. He did miss some time last year, and he did play a bit hurt as well. So missed weeks 5 through week 10, but the bye week was in there. So But still, yeah. And then just never really got it going. Had a big week against Cincinnati in week 12. Everyone got excited, then didn't hit double digits again for the rest of the year. Only hit double digits in PPR twice last year. So it's kind of hard to say because of what Arthur Smith did at the tight end position last year with Kyle Pitts. It's like, but Arthur Smith, for what it's worth, a better offensive coordinator than a head coach, I would argue. So, man, I traded away Muth in the one QB dynasty of Washington, both dynasty leagues. So I'm all for it. Yeah, and like I know there was at least one dynasty league last year, tight end premium league that like I traded up to pick Freiermuth. Like I've always been a Pat Freiermuth believer. So I'm gonna say, yeah, I really do believe that he can bounce back. And I'm not gonna read too much into the Arthur Smith noise, although I definitely understand why it's there. But I'm gonna rely on the talent of Freiermuth for sure. Minshew over Darnold. I mean, I can't really argue with that. I don't know why I picked Sam Darnold, but I did. Like hoping for the Vikings to go rookie quarterback, but Darnold plays, and the Texans have an early bye week, so I have a chance of points there. Who are the third string tight end? Pittsburgh's have a breakout year. Touchdowns in the fifth and sixth string wide receivers too. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see Arthur Smith back as an offensive coordinator compared to the disaster he was at head coach. All right, I'm going to try and go Gerald Everett with this final pick. Yeah, I mean, I'm a little rusty tonight, not going to lie. But ultimately, the core of this team I like. It's also like with these 20 rounders, like you're going to get some gross picks in here. Absolutely going to get some gross picks in here. I do kind of like A.J. Dillon as a late round running back in this format, but if the Packers bring another running back, then I don't like him, which is the fun of doing these pre-draft mocks or actual drafts. I like Gerald Everett in the 20th round. I think that's the best value I got since like the last 8 rounds since Chuba Hubbard. Let's see. Najee and Warren going to get all the touchdowns vultured by Patterson. That would be pretty characteristic, right? What's your thoughts on Aaron Jones? I like him a lot. I mean, I think just in the situation he's in, I think, Ty Chandler could be a factor, but it looks like Aaron Jones is going to be the lead back and he's going to get fed. So, yeah, I feel good about Aaron Jones. But once again, like I do think you want to be wary of who the potential handcuff is there. Like we're just talking about A.J. Dillon, right? We were looking at some of these older running backs. Like, I mean, Jones missed time last year, right? Had the big game week 1, then missed time right after it. So I like him in terms of volume. Volume is going to be king when it comes to the running back position, right? So that's, and I still believe in the talent of Aaron Jones. So yeah. Minshew over Darnold is so obvious, purely based off the facial hair and Minshew looking like he's going to slam 50 shots tequila before throwing for 300 yards. Yeah. I mean, in general, Gardner Minshew is probably the coolest quarterback ever. A.J. Dillon just doesn't fall forward. Yeah, that one game he had last year against the Raiders, I believe, Monday Night Football, where he was good, it was like stuck in my mind. But I don't disagree with what you're saying. Yeah, you want to look at some of these older running backs who potentially could miss time and what kind of backups will be behind them. Definitely agree. All right, we got slaughtered at our backup quarterbacks tonight, but we based this draft on drafting CJ Stroud, so whatever. But we got Fields and Sammy D. Running backs, we got Rachaad White, David Montgomery, DeAndre Swift, Chuba Hubbard, Keaton Mitchell, Damian Pierce. So I feel pretty good there. Like we kind of went hero running back, and running back was the fourth. We went 3 wide receivers and a running back in the fourth. So kind of held off there. Still feel good about the Lions run game overall, although I do think Gibbs will be the RB1 there. But I like Monty at his given value. Swift is a guy I believe in. Not everyone does. Really like Chuba at pick 122. Keaton Mitchell, Damian Pierce. I'll take them where we got them. All right, moving on to wide receiver. We got CeeDee Lamb, Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, Jameson Williams, Romeo Dobbs, Rashid Shaheed, Ricky Pearsall, and Jalen Hyatt. So obviously we got 2 Houston Texans wide receivers. We got CeeDee Lamb with the 2nd overall pick. Could go with a lot of different wide receivers there at the 1.2, but we'll go with Lamb. So I feel really good about those first 3 guys, especially since we're stacking here with Stroud. Jameson Williams, I just like where he's going in drafts. He's really started to come on at the end of the season and gain Jared Goff's trust. And whether you believe in him or not is completely fine. I can completely see this going either way. But with Josh Reynolds no longer on the team, he's going to be right in that number 2 role. And he's either going to step up and be a factor or he's not going to be a factor. So I'm banking on him being a factor in an offense that I still like. Romeo Dobbs, we went over that when we drafted him. He's got that red zone connection still with Jordan Love. Might not put up massive numbers, especially with Jaden Reed looking good last year, of course. And you still got Wicks there. Musgrave is fine. You know, like there's a lot of young options on this team, but Dobbs has that red zone chemistry with Love. So in best ball, I like him. Shaheed, Pearsall, Hyatt, we're just going for upside. I do like Ricky Pearsall in terms of kind of late round rookie wide receiver who could, in the right situation, have a nice role next year. Excuse me. All right, tight end. Continued our theme here. We got Dalton Schultz as our primary guy going in on. I mean, we have like every Houston pass catcher on this team except for Tank Dell. And not that he's a pass catcher, but I didn't really pay attention to Joe Mixon in this draft, but that would have been fun too. Then we just went really late at tight end, Chicken Conqueror and Gerald Everett, but I'm okay with that. So quarterback feels kind of gross after Stroud. Every time we were about to draft a QB2, I will admit that I probably should have drafted Baker Mayfield when he was available. He went like right after I skipped on him, and I probably should have drafted Baker Mayfield, but you know, some people out there might be saying, if you're like beating yourself up for not drafting Baker Mayfield, it definitely got ugly. But anyway, CJ Stroud's going to be MVP, so we'll survive. But yeah, there's the team. And we'll go over a couple of the rookie landing spots in terms of this draft. Yeah, this is actually a fair point. At this point, you could have just went Stroud only. This isn't completely fair. This is true. Laporta is probably the number 2. That's definitely fair to say. Yeah, but hey, I'll take the upside. I will take the upside in best ball for sure. All right, so MH Jr. goes at 2.4 and Neighbors goes at 2.10. Where did Adunze goes at 4.10? I feel like Adunze is a pretty good value there. So we got Brian Thomas Jr. AD Mitchell goes at 8.4. I really like that value there. And I was eyeing Xavier Worthy here at the 8.10, although I had the 8.11, but and Lad McConkey going to 9.9, I like a lot too. Troy Franklin at the 11.11. You got Keon Coleman, Xavier Legit. I do like where we got Ricky Pearsall in the 13th. After that, like, I'm not going to read too much in these names. Let's look at some of the running backs. Where did the first rookie running back go? Trey Benson at the 9.6. No, Jonathan Brooks at the 9.3. That makes sense. Who do you guys like more, Benson or Brooks? I kind of lean Benson, but I've kind of been on that all off season. Blake Corum at the 12.7. If he was there at the 12.11, I probably would have taken him. He's another guy who's just like that running back out of this class that like I just really like personally. But you got a lot of names here like Will Shipley, Audric Estime. Yeah. Not a ton of running backs taken, but that's kind of how this class is looking. Let's see a quarterback. So Caleb goes at the 10.7. He goes before Cousins. Jaden Daniels at the 11.3. Drake May goes at the 14.2. JJ McCarthy, 17.3. Michael Penix, 19.9. Man, it's going to be really interesting because one or two of these quarterbacks is going to really move up in ADP after they are drafted to their said team. Remember, like last offseason, we just saw Richardson really, really start to like move up in ADP. I mean, not just because of when and where he got drafted, but Anthony Richardson was like the phenom in terms of who to draft in terms of rookies last year, especially at quarterback. All right, let's just see where Brock Bowers went. Did any other rookies? Yeah, Ben Sinnott. I do like Ben Sinnott and Jadavion Sanders. Okay, that makes sense. Those guys are two really good values. I think they're definitely both worth taking where they're going in these underdog drafts. Bowers goes at the 7.12. That's fair. I like that value on Bowers. All right, let's see. I like Ladd. I like Brooks. I like Ladd McConkey a lot. Benson. Yeah, I do really feel like a lot of these wide receivers and running backs are very landing spot dependent, as always. But yeah, I mean, Dallas has got to draft a running back, right? All right, ladies and gentlemen, that'll wrap it up. There's my first underdog draft of the offseason. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I had fun. A little rusty, but we'll be okay. Always a pleasure. And it is just always fun to hop into an underdog draft, right? So depending on tomorrow, I think I'm going to do another one of these, and I think Pete might be joining me. So just stay posted. Still keep talking rookies, speculate on what's going to happen Thursday night, and hopefully throw together another decent entry. So I checked my account, and there's like $50 in here. I was like, oh, I need to do some underdog drafts, I guess. So all right, hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Thank you guys for hanging out, and I'll talk to you guys soon. So with that, I will say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here on The Catch, and peace.